spoke of Bobby's socks and an old jukebox, how he'd met her on a Christmas day. Old man sitting on an old park bench, telling tales of yesterday. Almost in rhyme he spoke of younger times, fresh old faded memories. He said, like vintage wine, good love takes time, and said these words to me. I heard the birds sing, bells ring, when she first caught my eye. And I came to find good things take time, and love is like good wine. He told me 50 years ago he bought this new old Chevrolet, drove her down to Natchez on the river, married her along the way. He said, God blessed, we got through it all. As years passed, our love grew. As the old man spoke, his old voice broke, and somehow I just knew. He still hears the birds sing, bells ring, when she walks on by. And he came to find good things take time, and love is like good wine. Well, my years will come, young cowboys, fearless falcons fast across the sky. Living in each moment, bulletproof and never asking why. Fast cars, fast trucks, and living free. Impatient youth impatiently waiting for the weekends when they fly. We call them cowboys. We got middle-aged cowboys, grounded falcons talking over beers. Wallets full of photographs, memories of joys and tears and fears. Big cars, big trucks, and kids and wives, some rebuilding broken lives, some still chasing dreams of younger years. We call them cowboys. They drive trucks, they drive the steel, they work the factories and the mills. Some still even ride the rodeo. Business suits and Harley scars, country clubs and roadside bars. We find them cowboys everywhere we go. Old cowboys, telling tales about times when they were high. Stretching out each moment, wondering how the years went swiftly by. Fast cars, fast trucks, and living free, now just colored memories. Looking back on
Let's give Russ Edwards a nice round of applause.
We weren't queen and king of the senior prom, but I got your vote, you got mine. And we said we'd wed and be happy together if we never had a single dime. But times have changed, it seems you've rearranged your list of priorities. And now the life of a wife of a working man no longer seems to fit your needs. Now you're the queen of I want it, and I'm the king of I don't have it. Somewhere you learn to be rules and main, but my check says forge and rabbit. I work a regular day for a regular pay, maybe a pension when I retire. I'll never be rich enough to scratch this itch you got, so honey, put out that fire. You say the new fur coat down at the mall looks just about your size, and it's true that rolls on the boulevard would go great with your blue eyes. And the mansion up on the hill for sale would be a great place to raise the kids. But the sink's on the blink, the truck is stuck, and that old TV's on the fritz. Still you're the queen of I want it, and I'm the king of I don't have it. Somewhere you learn to think rules and make, but my check says forge and rabbit. And I wish I could be Donald Trump when I open up the mail, 'cause I just got a letter from MasterCard, they want to put one of us in jail. I never learned too much about royalty or how they did their show. I knew Roy was king of the cowboys, I once met a queen of the rodeo. I thought if I didn't ask too much of life, life wouldn't ask too much of me. But thanks to you and the way you do, we got a place in history. You're the queen of I want it, and I'm the king of I don't have it. Somewhere you learn to think rules of mink, but my check says forge and rabbit. I work a regular day for a regular pay, maybe a pension when I retire. I'll never be rich enough to scratch this itch you got, so honey, put out that fire. You're the queen of I want it, and I'm the king of I don't have it. Well, my feet are getting cold because my shoes are getting thin. Standing on some highway with my thumb out in the wind. And I don't know where I'm going, don't know when I'm coming back. Since I left, it's been the high roads and some westbound railroad track. Well, what's wrong with a man who leaves the warmth of love to do the things I do? And how can I expect you to believe me when I say I love you, when I keep chasing after the wind, running after rainbows, leaving you again, going where the wind blows? God, I tried to change my ways, but I'm a freeborn man. Now some men get their kicks by watching cowboys on TV, but that easy armchair living's never been a part of me. And all you ever say is please be careful, hurry back. You deserve more than a hobo with a guitar on his back. Well, honey, what's wrong with a man who leaves the warmth of love to do the things I do? How can I expect you to believe me when I say I love you, when I keep chasing after the wind, running after rainbows, leaving you again, going where the wind blows. God, I try to change my ways, but I'm a freeborn man. Just a freeborn man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Ray and Carolyn for putting this evening together. Once I get used to the fact that, or forget about the fact that there's cameras and sound going, I'll be okay. I'm shy around cameras. Several years ago, a friend of mine got very wealthy very young. He bought one of those Germantown mansions for his mom. And he went out for soda or something. Being a white witch, this song came out of that. Well, my mama was a big city witch, you know, the kind folks don't believe in. And her mama was a bayou doctor, and she did some little more than just healing. When I was a baby, they looked in my eyes, hey, and I heard tell they said, you know, you'd better watch close on that little boy child, 'cause the devil's in his head. Yip-up-po, ba-da-dip-boom, ba-ba-ba. Well, now those two women doted over me till I was almost growed up. You know, they prayed and fretted over my poor soul till I was almost ready to throw up. With the backwoods magic and 10 local preachers, they kept hell's fires at bay. And would you believe that when the moon was full, they made me go to 2 churches on Sunday? Yip-up-boom, ba-da-dip-boom, ba-ba-ba. Well, I made it come true what they said in my crib. I guess I grew up kinda wild, but I'd rather be turned to ashes than to be a Sunday morning's child. Child, child, be a Sunday morning's child. Chonga, chonga, chicka, chonga, 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 chicka, ch. Well, now, I'm not saying that I don't believe in the Master and all his good works. I'm just tired of hearing every man with a church saying he represents the good word. And this one says that my God has died. That one says he's still alive. But you gotta be at his church at 4:45 on Sunday morning to see him. Yip-bum-bum, widdy-dip-boom, ba-bum-bum. But now that I'm older and I'm getting to think with some responsibility, I think now and then that I'd better try to save whatever little days left of me. And sometimes like yesterday I get to thinking that I better get to it soon. But then wasn't she so damn good last night under that evil moon? Yip-bum-bum, widdy-dip-boom, ba-bum-bum. Well, I made it come true what they said at my crib. I guess I grew up kinda wild, but I'd rather be turned to ashes than to be a Sunday morning's child. Child, child, to be a Sunday morning's child. Chonga, chonga, chicka,
So my friend Sherry and I were in Florida, in Boca Raton, sitting in one of those restaurants right there on Atlantic Avenue, where the next thing over was the beach and the ocean. And we're sitting there looking out at the ocean. And my friend Sherry's one of those people that believes there's something mystical about the ocean. She believes there's something spiritual about it. And we were having this conversation about her going down to the ocean and putting her feet in the water before we went back to her place. And somehow this thing that took place in Boca Raton, Florida, turned into a song about Arizona and California. So just in case you're curious as to how songs come to be, I'm just a storyteller and a songwriter. I don't pretend to be a singer. So anyway, that incident led to this song. Arizona on the way to California, burger joint passing through slow-low. She gave me a French fries and a soda, and a smile that pleased my eyes and burned my soul. I used some cheap line to start a conversation. Said she'd never been 100 miles from home. Hooked up with some snake just out of high school. She was cooking fries to make it on her own. She said, "Cowboy, will you take me to the water? Take me to the ocean, free my mind. Then take me anywhere and any way you wanna take me. Take me to the water, then take your time." I told her cowboys don't know much about blue water. It's sand and sweat and bulls and broncs and grime. Trailers traveling, keeping scores, talking trash and trauma wars. Don't teach a tramp about classy broads with loving on their minds. Kitty was a child of Arizona, dreaming about the ocean all her life. Took her to the coast of California, on a sunny, salty beach. I took her for my wife. She said, "Cowboy, will you take me to the water? Take me to the ocean, free my mind. Then take me anywhere and any way you wanna take me. Take me to the water, then take your time." She said, "Take me to the water, then cowboy, take your time." Thank you so much. Thank you. Gee, I love house concerts. It's nice to play for small, intimate groups of people, where I have time to tell my stories and bore people to death with all these details and stuff. Last year I was playing, we were talking a little bit earlier, I opened for Chubby Checker for 3 or 4 weeks in Branson, Missouri. 400 brand new people every night, but you couldn't sit there like this and look people in the eye and tell them stories. And got to do 6 songs real fast. Didn't get a chance to tell people what the songs were about. I have a CD for sale. I am proud to say that it went all the way up to number 7 in the country last year. It was a surprise to me. Didn't think I'd ever be on the charts again at this age. This is the title song of the CD. Young cowboys, fearless falcons fast across the sky. Living in the moment, bulletproof and never asking why. Fast cars, fast trucks, and living free. Impatient youth impatiently waiting for the weekends when they fly. We call them cowboys. We got middle-aged cowboys, grounded falcons talking over beers, wallets full of photographs, memories of joys and tears and fears. Big cars, big trucks, and kids and wives, some rebuilding broken lives, some still chasing dreams of younger years. We call them cowboys. They drive trucks, they drive the steel, they work the factories and the mills. Some still even ride the rodeo. Business suits and Harley scars, country clubs and roadside bars. We find them cowboys everywhere we go. Old cowboys, telling tales about times when they were high. Stretching out the moments, wondering how the years went swiftly by. Fast cars, fast trucks, and living free, now just faded memories. Looking back on days when they could fly. We still call them cowboys. They drive trucks, they drive the steel, they work the factories and the mills. Some still even ride the rodeo. Business suits and Harley scars, country clubs and roadside bars. We find them cowboys everywhere we go. We're all just cowboys. Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's why I don't like recorded concerts, because I just made more mistakes in that song. I practice my finger picking. I've been playing this thing since I've been 14 years old, and I still can't play it. So when I was in my middle 20s, I was doing a recording session for, I think, Decca Records, but I'm not sure. We were in New York, and the session was going very badly. When a recording session's going very badly, usually the best thing to do is you just stop, because it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, and you're just going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money. So I told everybody, let's take a break, let's all take a walk, get some coffee, do something, whatever you feel like doing for a little while, and then we'll come back and we'll start over with a fresh outlook on the whole thing. Well, I took my break, I left the studio, and I walked down to the entrance of Central Park, right there across from the Plaza Hotel, that entrance of Central Park. There was an old man sitting on a bench in a suit and tie on a bright summer sunny day. Anybody here now, you all aren't old enough to remember when old men used to sit on park benches in suits and ties on bright summer days. Norman Rockwell moments. Anyway, he mumbled something to me as I walked by. And my mother told me to be nice to old people because I would be old someday. My mother was right again. So I said, "I'm sorry, sir, did you say something to me?" And I wound up sitting down beside him on this park bench, and he told me the most beautiful story. And I put it in the back of my head until about 4, 5, 6 years ago. A friend of mine, Fran Smith Jr., bass player for the Hooters, came to me with a melody line and asked me to write a story for him, asked me to write lyrics. And I finally got a chance to write the old man's story. This is the old man's story. It's called Good Wine. He spoke of Bobby's socks and an old jukebox, how he'd met her on a Christmas day. Old man sitting on an old park bench, telling tales of yesterday. Almost in rhyme he spoke of younger times, fresh old faded memories. He said, like vintage wine, good love takes time, and said these words to me. I heard the birds sang, bells ring, when she first caught my eye. And I came to find good things take time, and love is like good wine. He told me 50 years ago he bought this new old Chevrolet. Drove her down to Natchez on the river, married her along the way. He said, God blessed, we got through it all. As years passed, our love grew. As the old man spoke, his old voice broke, and somehow I just knew he still hears the birds sing, bells ring when she walks on by. And he came to find good things take time, and love is like good wine. Well, my years will come, his years have gone, but he survived the test of time. Lots of poets write a lot about love, but he can testify about Bobby's socks and an old jukebox and that new old Chevrolet. After 50 years of joys and tears, he still loves her more each day, and he still hears the birds sing, bells ring when she walks on by. And he's lived the line, good things take time, and love is like good wine. He still hears the birds sing, bells ring when that old woman passes by. And he's lived the line, good things take time, and love is like good wine. Thank you. Some of us have been through it. We all know somebody that's been through it. People are together for some period of time, sometimes a very long time. And then for one reason or another, they're not together anymore. People die. People get mad at each other and separate. People get divorced. But somewhere along the line, eventually we get over that hurt and that pain and that heartache. And we find ourselves out in public again. And sometimes we meet somebody. This is a song about that. It's been a long time since I felt like this, searching for words I couldn't find when I was young enough to have the courage to say them. So maybe, if you just tell me what you're looking for, I'll tell you what I might be. Oh, and I won't say no lies to you if you don't ask too much. I'll try to be strong when you need me to. I'll return the gentle touch. And though I'm not sure I remember what the word love used to mean, but it was safe and warm and free from harm, was hope when times were lean. Would you like to try and teach me love again? Make me come alive inside again. Would you like to try and love me? It's been a long time since I felt like this, shuffling my silly feet like a 15-year-old and thinking maybe this time, if we both find what we're looking for, what a story we might be. Oh, after all those years with someone, and these last some years alone, could we take a chance, just one more dance? Could we make each other home? Where the past will be a memory, which is what the past should be. Not a picture frame for blame or shame, just a page in history. Would you like to try and teach me love again? Make me come alive inside again. Would you like to try and love me? Well, after all those years with someone, and these last some years alone, could we take a chance, just one more dance? Could we make each other home? Where the past will be a memory, which is what the past should be. Not a picture frame for blame or shame, just a page in history. Would you like to try and teach me love again? Make me come alive inside again. Would you like to try and love me? Thank you so much. Thank you. I love that song. Two hours, huh? Everybody give Joyce a round of applause. She drove 2 damned hours to get here. You know, there's 2 seats up here in the front for you people in the back who can't see a damn thing. I hope you're enjoying the music back there. This is a song about a guy who didn't get it. Doesn't get it now. And probably ain't never going to get it. For some reason or another, women seem to get this song better than guys do. Another true story. Most of my songs are true stories. They either happen to me or they happen to somebody I know. Most of them, unfortunately, happen to me. So... I met him at a bar one afternoon. He said, "Sit down, man, and let me buy you a beer." And then he told me his story. He said, "Pretty soon now she's gonna call me on the phone. She's gonna beg me to forgive her, beg me to come home. She knows she can reach me in this bar. It's where I always come to wait it out when things have gone this far. Third stool from the payphone, second wedding ring. One more round and I'll pretend I didn't say that awful thing. And maybe I'll forget she said she's gonna take the kids and leave. Third stool from the payphone, a land of make-believe. Pretty soon now she's gonna call me on the phone. She's gonna cry and say she's sorry, tell me she was wrong. 3 days now I've been living in this bar, sitting on the stool till closing time, sleeping in my car. Third stool from the payphone, second wedding ring. One more round and I'll pretend I didn't say that awful thing. And maybe I'll forget she said she's gonna take the kids and leave. Third stool from the payphone, a land of make-believe. Pretty soon now she's gonna call me on the phone. She's gonna beg me to forgive her, beg me to come home. He said, any minute now she's gonna call me on that phone. All these songs except the first one are on the CD, on the album. What the hell do you call it? Are they still albums, Ray, or do we have to refer to them as CDs?
Records.
Records?
Records.
All these songs are on the record. And for anybody that doesn't have the album, it's not just me and a guitar, it's me and some of the best musicians in the Northeast United States. I love presenting the songs this way in small groups, but if I recorded them this way, nobody would play them on the radio, so we dressed them up and put arrangements behind them and got these musicians to do fantastic things. I'm not a very good musician, but when I record, I use really good musicians. I have a friend named Susan. When I met Susan, I had never before met a woman named Susan. And I thought, wouldn't it be neat to put the name Susan into a song? Great name to put into a song. And I had never met a woman named Susan. So anyway, I thought about it for a while, and we knew each other for a while. She's the gentlest human being in the world. We're still good friends. We've known each other for years. that many years. Anyway, we're up at Philadelphia Folk Festival one year, and I saw her on a blanket beside some body of water. I don't know if it was a lake or a stream or a pond or a puddle or what the hell it was. And all of a sudden the song came to me. And instead of being a song about a woman named Susan, it turned out to be a song about a little girl named Susan. It's called Susan by the Water. If the song wasn't about that, Russ, why'd you go through that long explanation? Just to let you know how these things develop. Oh, Susan by the water sleeping, soft winds gently sweeping, kiss her tenderness. And I sit watching quietly, she turns and I can almost see her gentleness. When the sun comes down to kiss her eyes, I watch her rise, she turns, she runs, she's gone. And in the spot where Susan lay, I think about my busy day. Must move along. My business world, the lying, cheating, 10%. I keep repeating Susan's name. Oh, I do my best, but like the rest, I tell myself it's all part of the dollar game. Oh, but late at night when dreams will play, I think about the day she'll turn from me. And my little girl out in my cold business world, and I'm to blame. Oh, Susan by the water sleeping, soft winds gently sweeping, kiss her tenderness. And I sit watching quietly, she turns and I can almost see her gentleness. When the sun comes down to kiss her eyes, I watch her rise, she turns, she runs, she's gone. And in the spot where Susan lay, I think about my busy day. Must move along. Oh, Susan by the water sleeping, soft winds gently sweeping, kiss her tenderness. And I sit watching quietly, she turns and I can almost see her gentleness. Thank you. Well, to fit into Ray's time frame, I guess we can do one more song in this section. We'll do a song that isn't on the album. I've been doing the album for a year. I'm very happy to do it. And it's nice to have new people because I see a lot of the same people come to see me all the time, and I got to do something besides doing the album every time I see them, so I get a chance to do some of my other material. This is a song that comes from hanging out in too many bars. And y'all people observers, y'all people watchers, I'm a people watcher. Have you ever hung out in any cowboy bars, or trucker bars, or biker bars, or any of those kinds of bars, you will all recognize this story. Willie parks an old pickup, air out by the back door. The taxi she came in is forgotten and gone. Her friends were to meet here, he just stopped for a short beer. But now it looks like the lady may need a ride home. 12:30, the band plays an old western dance tune. Would you like to? I'd love to. Ain't I seen you before? Would you mind if I held you just a little bit tighter? A giggle, she squeezes his hands a bit more. And to sit down beside her and tell her he's single. He'll whine her and line her, tell her she's pretty, and she'll tell him that she is somebody's lady, that what he's suggesting is silly and crazy. But cowgirls and outlaws, bar queens and stray dogs, from midnight till sunrise, make lovers and friends. They'll play it's the first time, pretend it's the last time. Have you ever? No, I've never. But it's different with you. Believing, deceiving, just depends on the needing. And the needing this evening believes it's all true. And to sit down beside her and tell her she's pretty. He'll whine her and line her, tell her he's single, and she'll tell him that she's somebody's lady, that what he's suggesting is silly and crazy. But cowgirls and outlaws, bar queens and stray dogs, from midnight till sunrise, make lovers and friends. Cowgirls and outlaws, bar queens and stray dogs, from midnight till sunrise, make lovers and friends. I guess we'll see y'all in about 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
Before we go, I just wanted to mention, if there's anybody watching on the internet here, you won't watch us eat, but I'm going to show part of a show that I do, an internet show, and this was Sunday, not last Sunday, it's Sunday before. Tret Fury. I don't know if anybody knows Tret, and it was a really good show. So they're going to watch some of that, and then we'll be back in about 20-25 minutes,
or maybe 15 minutes.
We'll see. Well, welcome. This is an unusual Sunday morning show. And my guest today, just want to say a little bit about her before I introduce her. She started singing when she was 16, went to L.A. To start her music career when she was, I think, 19. She's quite accomplished in a number of areas that we'll talk about today. But I'd like to introduce my guest, Tret Fury. Did I get the last name right?
Yes,
Fury?
you did.
I thought it was that.
Very much.
I usually ask ahead of time, and I forgot to do
no,
it.
that's it.
Now, you've been performing, writing songs, and doing a bunch of other stuff for a pretty long time.
Very long time. Yeah, I really started. I started writing when I was 19, and that's I moved out to LA when I was 19,
Mm-hmm.
and was fortunate enough. I hooked up with some women in a group called Fanny, which was the first all-women rock and roll band of any stature back then. And through the keyboard player, I was introduced to Spencer Davis because she was a friend of his.
Mm-hmm.
And Spencer was looking for a blues guitarist. And at the time, I was playing a lot of 12-string slide and lead belly style blues finger picking. And he loved my style, so my first professional gig was with Spencer Davis, which was really nice. And it led to, I worked with him for about a year. Did a CD. He did a CD at that time called, or not a CD, what am I saying? It was an LP called Mousetrap.
Uh-huh.
And I recorded that album with him, and I penned the title song from that album. So that was really a great, lucky way for me to start.
To get into it.
Found my first manager through that and got my first deal. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we hear a song?
Okay, you bet. This is a song called Small Town off my True Compass CD, and it's about the demise of our small towns in this country. Oh, the streets are so wide, you can diagonally park in that small town, in that small town. Yeah, the streets are so wide, but the theater has gone dark in that small town, in that small town, where your business is everybody's business, and everybody's nose is in your business, and everybody knows more than you wish they did in that small town. And the concrete's so worn, there are cracks for every year of that small town, of that small town. And when the mercantile closed, everybody was in tears in that small town, oh, that small town. And our parents grew old, and the kids all moved away from that small town, oh, that small town. With no prospects in sight, there's no reason to stay in a small town, a very small town, where your business is everybody's business, and everybody's nose is in your business, and everybody knows more than you wish they did in that small town. And my cousin Kenny owned the pool hall where Grandpa cooked each day in that small town, in that small town, making breakfast for the farmers and conversation by the way in that small town, oh, that small town. And my grandpa would brag, though bragging's not the way of a small town, of a small town. I'm the oldest man around here, and I walk 5 miles a day in that small town. Where your business is everybody's business, and everybody's nose is in your business, and everybody knows more than you wish they did in that small town. Ooh, hear the whistle blow as a train rolls by, as a train rolls by, and oh, it don't stop here anymore. Well, it's a piece of our history, and it's a part of our past, the small town, the small town. But like all things worth saving, there's a chance that it won't small town, a very small town, where your business is everybody's business, and everybody's nose is in your business, and everybody knows more than you wish they did in that small, small town.
Yeah, it's nice. I was listening to that, I think on your website or somewhere. I heard that song. Now, you grew up in a small town?
Well, I grew up in a lot of small towns. I was born in a tiny town. But that particular song is about a town where my grandparents lived and they retired from farming, a little town in southern Minnesota. And it was inspired. I was at the Woody Guthrie Folk Festival in Okemo, Oklahoma, which is Woody's hometown. And I was walking down the main street, and it was one of those large, very wide main streets like most of the old farm towns were, so you could turn your wagon around. And it just took me to Keister, where my grandparents were, and summers that I would spend there. Yeah, so that's where it came
But you
from.
grew up in the Midwest?
I grew up in the Midwest. I was born in Iowa, lived in 4 different cities in Iowa, then lived outside of Chicago for 3 years, and then moved up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And when I graduated from high school, I went as far away as I could. I went to California.
Now, your first solo record was through MCA?
MCA Uni, yeah. MCA had a subsidiary called Uni Records, which was Elton John's label. It was Elton John, Dobie Gray, and myself. We were the 3 main artists on the label at that time.
Well, I found a video on the internet. You were interviewed by Right Out TV.
Yeah, right.
And so I emailed them and said it would be okay if I used some of that interview today. And they said, yeah.
Oh, good.
So we're going to watch some of that now.
Great, wonderful. The Cubbies on the radio waves, trying to hit a home run, playing against the Braves. When they stand for all that you believe in, you set your sights on higher ground. Just reach for the light that's deep inside and spread it around. In the spring I take a deep breath, and in the summer I'm looking for a ride. In the fall it's all about the leaf. 40th year of touring, and used to go out for weeks. Used to go out with a band. Used to go out with as a duo, then solo, and stopped going out for weeks on end because I needed somewhat of a home life. Now that she's gone, she's more than all these things, and she lives inside each of our hearts. And we treasure her memory, live by her creed, knowing we're never really apart. We're never really apart. You know, it's really, when I started in 1970, and I was, my first real job was I was the guitar player for Spencer Davis, and did an album with him. In 1972, I recorded my first solo album, but it was like pulling teeth to get a label to pick me up, because women were, it was a novelty, and every label had one woman. And I had to find a label that did not have the one woman, and I found FCA Records. It was an easier time, but a harder time. It was hard as a woman to get on the label, but there was less competition. You had a chance to actually be heard and make a difference. There are so many people now that are singer-songwriters. Everywhere you look, there's a singer-songwriter. You go to Folk Alliance conferences, you hear the best music you're ever going to hear. You go from hotel room to hotel room and you think, oh my God. But the beauty of what's happening in the digital world is that you can survive as an artist. You can sell your music online. You can survive by having your music up on YouTube, creating live performances where people can actually contribute. So in that sense, yeah, you might have a chance of making money, but it's really hard, and it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. So I'd seriously say, don't quit your day job. I am so fortunate. I'm one of the few people that I know that are still working and working regularly. And I have more work than I can handle. And I don't know how that's happened, but I'm so grateful for it.
I've got a suitcase, and I used to keep it packed. I wanted to make sure I could slip out the back, and I was a fruitcase. I couldn't face my truth. I've learned to look both ways and try not to let the devil loose. Drives a wedge between my heart. Everything that I hold dear drives away the good.
Okay, I want to thank Right Out TV for letting us use that. Is that's another internet kind of thing, right?
They just started. Well, within the last year, they started, and they're really putting up a lot of music and videos and interviews with a lot of the of gay artists. I think their focus is. And they came to Bethlehem. I was at Godfrey Daniels up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and they came and interviewed me there and filmed some of the show, and it was really nicely done. I was very pleased to be their monthly guest. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you talked about in that video was the music business versus the independent artist. Mm-hmm. And now you've made that transition at a certain point, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Well, I made that transition when it was around 1980. After my first release, I was dropped from MCA. It was, the whole music industry is so political, and my manager and the president of MCA were parting ways, and actually the president of MCA got fired. And all the artists that he brought in left with him,
Right.
And I had another deal with United Artists Records, and I did another album that was just about to be released when Transamerica Life Insurance, who owned United Artists, decided they wanted to fold the music part of the company and just keep the movie. So everything folded, and the album was never released. And then I had another deal, but I was pushing 30, and as a woman pushing 30 in Los Angeles,
yeah,
I was done pretty much. So, and I started to get introduced to, I had heard a lot about the women's music scene, but was not really a part of it. And I sort of migrated there. I had hooked up again with June Millington from Fanny, and at the time I was a recording engineer in LA, and she asked me to come and be the engineer on Chris Williamson's children's album. And so I did that, and that led me right into the women's music scene, and I worked with Chris for 20 years, and started migrating back into the folk world in the mid to late 90s, where really is where I started, was in folk. Through the whole 80s and 90s of the women's movement, I was pretty much a pop rock artist. Mm-hmm. And I was like the first for Olivia of a woman playing electric guitar.
Yeah, that's what I was doing some research, and even on some site that I found with your music, they still identify you as pop rock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can't really get rid of those labels. But yeah, I put away. I mean, I still play my electric guitar, but I don't tour with it, and my heart is in folk music.
Let's hear another song.
All right, this is a song that I wrote shortly after 9/11. I was in New York City, and it's commentary on how we have such a disconnect, how we have over the years disconnected with each other, and the need to reconnect as people. It's called When the Wind Blows. Graffiti on the rooftops, antenna from the 50s, a boulevard so broken by the beat. The train coughs out the lonely on their way to work and home, and I make my way down Sentimental Street. Well, I board the battered bus and I take the easy seat, staring at the stares of starving faces, riding to Manhattan with the day-to-day survivors through their neighborhoods and sacramental places. Buildings boarded over, old men on the sidewalks, a town that tells the history of ages. Each person has a story, you can see it in their walk. You can read between their lines and turn their pages. But I live far away where the grass appears much greener, where we often might forget to lock the door. Though we're all one on this planet, we have different ways of coping. We're giving each a lot that's less or more. And I clatter on my way, and I chatter through the day, and I look at people's lives through their windows, into town and back on another beaten track, wondering how the weather when the wind blows. So you'll see me in a cafe or walking to the subway, and I'll try to meet your eye if I am able. If I only had the nerve, or maybe took a chance, I'd offer you a seat across the table. But we live each alone in our solitary shelter, where we never take for fear of also giving. We tend to turn away, speaking silence to the masses, and wondering how we'll find the key to living. And we clatter each alone, and we chatter on the phone, and we look at people's lives through their windows, into town and back on another beaten track, wondering how we'll weather when the wind blows. When the wind blows, oh, oh, oh. So if you need a bit of company, an ear or just a voice, well, call someone if only but in passing. You may well get lucky and find a kindred soul who wonders how we'll weather when the wind blows. Well, I wonder how we'll weather when the wind blows. When the wind blows.
Yeah, pretty
Thank you.
song.
Thank you.
I was going to mention earlier, the reason we're doing this on Sunday is that you played in Oxford, PA last
That's
last
correct.
night,
Last night, yep. Mhm.
and you have to go up to Massachusetts for
I
a show tonight.
Yeah, Friday night I was at the Bull Run in Massachusetts.
Oh,
I came
man.
down here, and I'm going back to like 2 towns over for another show tomorrow night.
You drive a lot, don't you?
Yeah, what I do is I fly to an area
Uh-huh.
and then either rent a car, or I have good friends who drive
Right.
me around and take me to my shows. I only go out on weekends anymore. I used to go out for weeks and months at a time, but it doesn't make sense for me. And I teach guitar, tutor guitar during the week, so I go out on weekends, I go home and teach for 3 days and go back out again.
And you also teach songwriting. Yeah.
I do a lot of songwriting workshops. I love teaching songwriting much more than guitar. Guitar can be a little tedious, but it's good work. But songwriting, yeah, my heart is in that.
Did they ever have you come down to Swannanoa Gathering?
I want to get to Swannanoa Gathering. Yeah, I've talked to them repeatedly. I'm just trying to work it out.
I went one time, and Tom Kimmel was there.
Yeah, I love Tom's
Yeah,
work.
he did a house concert here
Oh, really?
in May.
Oh, he's a fabulous writer.
Yeah.
I just love his voice. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, as a songwriting teacher and a songwriter, if you had to give a songwriting lesson for the essence of songwriting in less than 2 minutes, what would you say?
Well, it's one word: compression. And it's funny because what I teach is throw away all the extra words. Go to the heart of the matter. The fewer words, the better. But then I turn around and I'm probably one of the wordiest songwriters I know.
I know
the
what
best
you mean.
The best songs are you got to say as much as you can in under 3 minutes. And compression is the best word I can use.
I agree.
Yeah.
And some singer-songwriters haven't learned that yet.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm wordy, but at least I choose carefully my words.
Right.
So that's important, yeah.
I put together a little slideshow of some photographs of you and then one of your songs, which You remember what it is? We played it before.
The whole song, The Grace of God.
Grace of God, that's
Yeah,
right. And,
yeah.
and so we're gonna watch that now
Okay,
and listen to
wonderful.
that.
Great.
Okay, here we go.
You're minding your own business when out of the blue, like a bolt of white lightning, they come crashing into you. And 101 memories break across your heart. Your breath comes in fits and waves, and you're pulling apart. And the angels are all watching, they're counting the minutes. Your life becomes a circle game. You're out of it or in it. By the grace of God we come and go. By the grace of God we come and go. You're sitting in Cortona with a hilltop view, and your ancestors are whispering, they've got plans for you. And 101 questions race across your mind. You're caught between the then and now, fighting with time. And the angels are all waiting, they're counting your minutes. Your life becomes a circle game. You're out of it or in it. By the grace of God we come and go. By the grace of God we come and go. By the grace of God we come and go. And I'm standing on this earth, my feet firmly planted with a promise.
Okay, I guess we're gonna do this.
There's a song in there somewhere.
I know. I'll have to tell you, baby.
Whenever you want to go, Russ, we're cool.
I like these. I have one in my pocket right now.
You're wrapped around his hand. Thank you.
Do it.
Okay. Well, she was tending the tables in a bar in Pennsylvania. It was past 2 a.m. We was packing up the show. Was one of those nights made me wished I'd gone to college. She said, one for the road. I said, girl, how could you know? She said, I've been alone 3 years come tomorrow. I was raised by a preacher. I believe the holy word, but people alone come to recognize the sorrow of people alone. She told me something she had heard. You got to hold someone every now and then. You got to touch somebody. I know they say it is a sin. You got to start believing. If you're gonna live again, you got to walk with some strangers on the road to love a friend. She was turning the key to a door in Pennsylvania. She said, try not to wake the kids, it's better they don't know. She set the alarm on the clock up in the bedroom. She said, just tell me once, what time do you have to go? She whispered, just hold me close. You don't have to say you love me. Please don't tell me you'll write me from wherever you will go. Just take my love with you to the people who you'll sing to. Tell others like us there's something they should know. You got to hold someone every now and then. You got to touch somebody. I know they say it is a sin, but you got to start believing. If you're gonna live again, you got to walk with some strangers on the road to love a friend. She was tending the tables in a bar in Pasadena. It was past 2 a.m. We was packing up. The show was one of those nights. Made me think of Pennsylvania. She looked lonely as hell. I said, darling, there's something you should know. You got to hold someone every now and then. You got to touch somebody. I know they say it is a sin, but you got to start believing. If you're gonna live again, you got to walk with some strangers on the road to love a friend. You got to hold someone every now and then. Thank you so much. Welcome back. This song came to me in a dream. Honest. Woke up in the middle of the night, wrote it down. It's spiritual in nature. I don't know what it means. And it's a finger-picking song. Chances are I'm going to screw it up. I've seen your world through 2 empty windows from a lonely apartment on top of a cloud. Very few live in this world that I'm watching. Rest walk in silence, their souls in a shroud. Ah, but Lucifer's dancing his ballet of madness. His music's the whisper of royalty's cry. 2 princes and 3 queens mourn those lost in battle.
How many more will miss truths? Lullaby. If you would cry, friends, feel free, use my shoulder, for I too have tears for the souls lost behind. So few were called to, but many will fall to. The princes of darkness, let's hope it won't be. You or I. I've seen the sin in my dream's revelation, dark harlequin clothed in a beauty bright lie. And Mesmer will gather those friends who would rather lie soft in his darkness than rise to my side. Ah, but Lucifer's dancing his ballet of madness, his music's the whisper of royalty's cry. 2 princes and 3 queens mourn those lost in battle. How many more will miss truths? Lullaby. If you would cry, friends, feel free, use my shoulder, for I too have tears for the souls lost behind. So few were called to, but many will fall to. The princes of darkness, let's hope it won't be. You or I. You could just edit that one out, right? Oh, time was when you were everything there was to be. When I could rhyme I love you with words like eternity. When all you had to do was snap your fingers. And there was only good things to remember. Well, look who wants it now. Look who needs it now. Look who's bleeding now. Oh, well, look who wants it now. And those nights when I laid there with your body next to me, and you was acting like there was some place you'd rather be. Once you said all I had to do was snap my fingers.
Now the memory of those lonely nights still lingers. Well, look who wants it now. Look who needs it now. Look who's pleading now. Well, look who wants it now. So now that my body's finally learned somebody else, and I've untwisted my mind so it can love somebody else, still think all you got to do is snap your fingers. All you have to do is simply cause me to remember. Well, I remember. And look who wants it now. Look who needs it now. Look who's pleading now. Well, look who wants it now. Well, look who wants it now. Here's a song I recorded years ago under another name. Sold a bunch of records, got in a bunch of trouble. When I was a kid, I recorded a country song with black background singers. Cost me 4 years of my life in the record business. I got blackballed. Some disc jockeys in the South listened to it carefully and said, "Oh my God, there's black people back there." Let's see, is there anybody here old enough to remember this? Maybe. I just don't love you anymore. I just don't need you anymore. Don't put your arms around my waist. Don't even look me in the face. That's all she said, then walked away. The times we had, well, they were grand. Now she won't even take my hand. Don't try to call me on the phone. Just go away, leave me alone. That's all she said, then walked away. Here come the black guys. Oh, I know I cheated, but why? I know I cheated, but I don't know why. Why did I make her cry? Why did I make that woman cry? I'll find her and I'll go to her, and I'll show her this love can be true. Then maybe we'll walk hand in hand. Oh Lord, please let her understand. I didn't mean to hurt her, so give me some way to let her know, so that she'll never walk away. Oh, I know I cheated, but why? Why did I make her cry? I'll find her and I'll go to her, and I'll show her this love can be true. Then maybe we'll walk hand in hand. Oh Lord, please let her understand. I didn't mean to hurt her, so give me some way to let her know so that she'll never walk away. Thank you so much. So after getting blackballed for 4 years, I went to Decca Records, changed my name back to Russ Edwards. And the first thing I did for Decca was this. I've been ruined and I've been destructed. My good name's been dragged by the roots from its foundation. And it wasn't done by no fast-talking lawyers or by some mighty men from some large organizations, but by small talking by small people on a Sunday morning at the church top steeple. Just small talking by small people beneath the eyes of he who sees. Small talking by small people on a Sunday morning neath the church top steeple. Just small talking by small people. Now look what it's done to me. How many lives have been ruined by false rumors, and how many lies come from innocent conversation? How many times has someone told a story and then each time repeated gained some little exaggeration? Small talking by small people on a Sunday morning neath the church top steeple. Just small talking by small people neath the eyes of he who sees. I'm telling is as true as my heartache and not just my imagination. Packing my bags and I'm turning in my room key, and I'm looking for a world where there's not so much procrastination and no small talking by small people on a Sunday morning neath the church top steeple. Just small talking by small people neath the eyes of he who sees. Small talking by small people on a Sunday morning neath the church top steeple. Just small talking by small people. Now look what it's done to me. Small talking by small people. Now look what it's done to me. And that was my version of There's a rumor about something about the time I went to California 1 week for 9 weeks. It's not true. I'm convinced that every third Thanksgiving, a week gets added to this story. I think I went to California 1 week for like 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. But it wasn't 9 weeks. But the story as it currently is told is the time Russ went to California 1 week for 9 weeks. Things kept happening out there. I just didn't come back. But somewhere during that course of events, I woke up one afternoon after playing the night before and having a big after-show party and all of that stuff that happens when you're in this business. I had no idea where I was. And I reached over to the desk. I pulled up a piece of paper and it said, Bonaventure Los Angeles, California. I figured it must be Thursday. I'm at the Bonaventure. And before I got out of bed, on that piece of paper that I dragged off the desk, I wrote this. Well, sometimes in the morning, when I wake up from a dreaming sleep, when I see the towers of Eden from my window on some unknown street, and I might wake you up too early just to hear you say you still care, you're still there, and that you feel that I'm alive. Till morning starts at 5 p.m. And there I'll go again. Two shows a night and one on Sunday. Johnny quit the band. Says he'd rather be home with Elaine. And every time I see two people walking hand in hand, I tell myself I'll never leave again. But sometimes in the morning, when I wake up from a dreaming sleep, and I hear the sounds of children, honey, tell the kids Dad's trying to sleep. But hotel walls and motel pillows never seem to hear, and you're so many miles away. Why not come down some night and stay an hour till morning starts at 5 p.m. And there I'll go again. Two shows a night and one on Sunday. Johnny's quit the band. Says he'd rather be home with Elaine. And every time I see two people walking hand in hand, I tell myself I'll never leave again. But sometimes in the morning, darling, sometimes in the morning, God, how I hate those mornings. I never had to look at a watch before doing a house concert. I don't know how to deal with this. Hey Willie, I don't know you, but I know your stories well. I hear that you've been up and down, maybe once and twice you fell. And I heard he was a crazy man with pockets full of dreams. But the dreams kept falling through the holes till Texas sewed the seams. Oh, you Texas boys played a different tune before the die was cast. Well, it must have been tough to be the first, but it's tougher being last. And me, I had a break or two that didn't turn quite right. One morning I looked in the mirror, decided I would fight. But first, they tell me, Willie, was it worth it? It's important that I know. 'Cause I started picking these here tunes too many years ago. Someone said I was a lot like you when I was 17. Hey, I wish when I was 20 I'd looked inside your dream. We're all somewhat older now, pretending like we're kids. There was Jerry, Jeff, and Chris, but no one waited like you did. Me, I had a break or two that didn't turn quite right. One morning I looked in the mirror, decided I would fight. But first, tell me, Willie, was it worth it? It's important that I know. 'Cause I started picking these here tunes too many years ago. They said I was a lot like you when I was 17. Hey, I wish when I was 20 I'd looked inside your dream. Tell me, Willie, was it worth it? It's important that I know. Yeah, that's a little personal. Okay, we got one more for you. Are we all right over here? Are we okay?
Yeah, we're good.
No screen. She's hot.
Carolyn's hot. We're waiting for Carolyn.
Turn here.
Well, so much for the dynamics of that show. So about a year ago, I learned that I'm a cancer survivor. And while I was going through all that stuff, some friends of mine, some local friends of mine were out in California. They sent me an email. My friend Gene Arnold got a great idea for a song, says this email. And he gave me a title line and an idea of what he thought the song should sound like, and a couple of other lines. And just to make my friend Gene Arnold happy, I decided I would sit down for a few minutes and write something. Gene's been trying to write a song with me for years. Long time. So I sat down for 20 minutes and I knocked out a song, which has become my theme song. Because it just happened that the title came along at the exact right time in my life, which was probably the worst time of my life. But not anymore. I've been washed up, but I've never been washed out. I've been cleaned up and a few times near cleaned out.
I'm old enough to know much better, but I still think I can fly. Gonna saddle up my ego, give life another try, and I won't quit now. I've been locked up, but I've never been locked out. Found love, but lost the key to love's house. Tried before and I got busted, but I still think I can fly. Gonna saddle up my ego, give life another try, and I won't quit now. Oh, I sailed the 7 seas, flew as high as I could fly. Got stranded in a nightmare, stranded in a lie. But darkness only haunts us if we won't look for the light. I was almost lost forever, but life's worth another try, and I won't quit now. Oh no, I won't quit now. It's been fun playing for y'all. Thank you so much for coming out on this evening. Thanks, Ray and Carolyn, for putting this thing together. Oh, I sailed the 7 seas, flew as high as I could fly. Got stranded in a bad dream, stranded in a lie. But darkness only haunts us if we won't look for the light. I was almost lost forever, but life's worth another try, and I won't quit now. Oh no, I won't quit now. Thank you so much. My name's Russ Edwards. Thanks for listening. What if I'm out of songs? Well, I once told a story of people see we were paying attention. Well, I once told a story of people who stood neath a steeple whispering rumors and lies. And when they heard my small song, they all knew who was wrong. They pointed to neighbors and they pointed to friends, and they covered their mirrors so as not to offend their own eyes. But I'm just a minstrel, a wanderer, and I go my own way, and I tell of the things that are happening today. I'm a wanderer, a minstrel, and I tell my small tales, and behind me the wails of the injured are cursing my bones. But the minstrel stands alone. Well, I once told a story of children, beautiful children, with everyone anxious to hear. But there's a war going on, and I mention the fact that if someone don't act, the toy guns will turn into the crack of a rifle on some foreign field. But I'm a minstrel, a wanderer, and I go my own way, and I tell of the things that are happening today. I'm a wanderer, a minstrel, and I tell my small tales. And behind me the wails of the injured are cursing my bones. But the minstrel stands alone. Well, I once told a story of soldiers with guns to their shoulders for something in which they believed. And the doves hollered wrong, and the hawks shouted right, and I was caught in the midst of their insensible fight. But the point all along ain't the right or the wrong, but that each must be written in verse and in song, and we each have the right to choose which we believe. But I'm a minstrel, a wanderer, and I go my own way, and I tell of the things that are happening today. I'm a wanderer, a minstrel, and I tell my small tales, and behind me the wails of the injured are cursing my bones. But the minstrel stands alone. The minstrel stands alone. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much.
Young cowboys, fearless falcons fast across the sky. Living in each moment, bulletproof and never asking why.